Today I will show you how to create a lead scraper with CrewAI. So here we have the code and let's run it very quickly to see what results we actually get. So now it's running, it's crawling the site devfriesefreiberg.de. I'm crawling the first site, which is the landing page. Then it will now extract the contact page, which is contact.php, and then impressum.php, crawl these two sites, and then merge all of the information that was collected on these sites. So what we're going to have is we have the contact URL, we have the impressum URL, the absolute ones, we have the decision maker name, we have the phone number, and we have the email address, and the company industry, and the company products, which are not listed here. And we have content summary points, which is some summary of the root domain. All of that, you are totally flexible to find these values, and I will show you how. Before we do that, I just want to show you a little bit in a scheme what is actually happening. So the first thing what we're going to do is we crawl the root URL. Then we find the contact and the impressum page URL, which is important to collect all the information we want, because for lead scraping, a lead is something like you need to contact someone. The idea is that you want to do outreach. So you need very specific information, and many times you don't find all of this information just on the root URL. So then we have to find, as well as said, the contact and impressum page. And then we crawl both of these pages, and then we extract the information. And then we should take it again, we could take it together with the bullet point, with the main root information, and at the end we create a returned structured JSON, which we will see here. So this is a JSON which is returned, and of course it's very easy to access, and then you can just process it and do with this JSON whatever you want to do. Okay, so first we do a little bit, I will explain you a little bit how actually, if you create those things, how you actually want to do that. So first, of course, you go to CrewAI. CrewAI, you see, is the last update was 14 hours ago. So it's a very maintained AI agent framework. They have lots of contributors, more than 200 contributors, and frequently there are some updates. So, and it is well documented. And one thing that I like a lot is, if you go here, you have like the way to talk to the docs. So if you open it, it goes like directly to, let's see if it works. It goes directly to ChatGPT, and then you can actually chat with the docs. So for example, create me an example of two agents booking a trip. What's happening? So let's say then write me the code. So then it is actually writing me the code for those agents. And it is using, which I want to show you now, the new way of defining agents. Let's make this a little bit bigger. So the new way of defining agents is, I show you in a second. Let's go back to the documentation. So this is actually described here, wait a sec, in the example. So the new way of doing agents is like with these YAML files, which is which are widely used. I have to admit, I did not try that. I will try that soon, and probably I will make a video about that. So in this video, we don't want to use the new way because they recently, I would say like 1 or 2 months ago, they changed this way of writing AI agents. So Yeah, let's jump into the code and go through the code step by step. And then I will just explain you step by step what is happening. And if you want to create it yourself, how you actually can do that then. So let's start from the beginning on. Well, we have the basic imports you have to do. This is very straightforward. And we used a tool, which I will show you. And we use tool usage. The tool usage is the scraper. And we use CrewAI for that. I'm going to show you how we use the tool in a minute. Well, this is just like, you can kind of ignore. I used it for my benchmarks if I use the benchmark, we want to use a server. And for these tests, for this scenario which we were running, we don't need a server, so we just run the local tool. So, yeah, let's go through it. So here we have the tool. Actually, this is not the tool definition. It's just like kind of a wrapper around the tool. So if you write your own tool, and if you want, like, if you work with different frameworks, you kind of have to put a wrapper around it that the specific framework, in this case CrewAI, can use the tool. So I just imported this function, async function, the scrape website. Yeah, I think we can take a quick look into that, how it's actually working. Basically, as said, it's just using CrewAI. And yeah, it's very simple code. It's just like scraping the website and return the result in Markdown format, which is easily readable for any large language model. Yeah. The nice thing of CrewAI that it prepares your website. I can give you a quick, let's do a quick overview. CrewAI. So it's an open source project, and what it does, it prepares, it returns, it's built for LLMs. It's like creates, returns the website, a full website, in a way that an LLM can read it very well. So for example, you have like, and everything is in Markdown format. So it says like, okay, here we have a link. This link will probably do this and that, and like all the information. Yeah, I highly recommend you to check out this page a little bit deeper. It's a very nice and interesting and very useful project. Okay, let's jump back to the code. So we have the two users, and then something that is very important and works very well is if you use Pydantic. So we imported Pydantic, and Pydantic we use that the LLM, or like the agents, return structured data. Because if you define this very well, you basically have your prompts get a lot shorter, because most of the time when you use agents, you want that they return structured output, not like fuzzy output where they say like, okay, here is my response. Now I did this and this and that, and here's my result. No, you don't want that. You want like only the information in a very structured way, mostly JSON format. So that's why we use Pydantic. So we define very clearly that we want an absolute contact URL, not the relative one. We want the impression URL. We want the decision maker, the phone number, the email, the company industry, company products, and content summary points. And here, by defining that it's a list, it knows that it has to create a list. It's not like just a string. No, it's a list. So you can be very, very precise if you use Pydantic, and I heartily recommend you to keep using Pydantic. Always use it. So yeah, basically then we just have, we ini our class and take the input data, which is in this case the domain URL and the product text, because later we want to create like a personalized um, marketing campaign. Good. So we have the run functions, which is basically just we define the scrape. We just define the first agent, which is the only agent we use. So we have actually one agent and two tasks. And the scrape agent, well, it's very simple. It's like the role is a web scraper agent and the goal find the required website information. And the backstory, you are an expert web scraper agent specializing in finding website information. So you have the role, the goal, and the backstory. And yeah, the only thing what we give it is like the tools to use, which is the tool which I just showed you some time ago. And then this agent gets two tasks. And the first task is like to scroll the root URL. You just insert it like that when you define a task. And what we want as an output, a well-structured JSON object. And probably you can actually remove that, I guess, because we have output JSON and then we put the website information, which was the defined Pydantic base model. So if we did that, that was the first task, which is just checking the root URL. The second task goes a little bit deeper and it will do two crawls. So with one task, it can actually do two function calls, and we want the absolute impressum URL and the absolute contract URL to be scraped. So it has to get us the contact information on these two pages. Yeah, and this is almost everything pretty much. Then we define the crew, and the crew has one agent and two tasks. Verbose we put to false, because right now we don't want lots of logging. If you put verbose to true, it gives you more information. That's very good for debugging. You can just play around with it. First put it on true, see the output, and if you're good with your agents, you can put it on false, so that you can really focus on like the agent output, like the result output, and not the logging output, let's say. And then we have what is very important and what works usually a lot better if you create six sequential processes and not hierarchical processes. Because if you use not sequential processes, it happens a lot that the agents get lost in loops. Yeah, basically, and then you just have the crew result, the kickoff. Yeah, that's basically it. Let's talk about the input. The input data, this is again some more information that I used for creating my benchmarks. So in this case, we use the GPT-4o mini model, and what we give in is the domain. This one you can easily edit, and then the product URL. So if you want to play around with it, like checking, okay, which data we can scrape, then basically just change a little bit this website information base model. So there you can put like, let's say, company opening times, or like the main products of the company. Or if you're more specific, if you only want to crawl SEO websites, if you only want to crawl marketing agencies, then you can put like different SEO products, something like that. Just play around with it and you will see how nice it's working. Yeah, perfect. If you enjoyed this video, please consider to give me a like and a subscribe, and I see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.